Yeah. Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. All right. We've got our Atomic Habits Wednesday team meeting. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Hey, Randy Bird is in the house. Randy, how you do today? You're on mute. You're on mute, brother.
Yeah.
We've got.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I
How you
said
doing,
doing
Randy?
great, alive, excited, and full energy.
Awesome. Cool. Matthew, how you doing today? Matt, he's on mute. Let's see who's.
I'm here. Let's do this.
Awesome. Andrew, good morning, everybody. Well, hey, I'm going to jump right in because one of the questions that we've been getting over and over is, man, how can we create more business in this market right now? And how can we convert more? Because that's really the key right now. I think all of us have enough business. We don't need to go out and buy business. We don't need to get Zillow leads or any of that thing. We have enough business right now in our database and on our follow-ups. I think the problem is conversion. And one of the biggest problems with conversion is objections, right? Whether it's you're talking to someone in your database and they're not open to a conversation, or if you're talking to a for sale by owner or an expired, just to book the appointment, or you're at the appointment and they really are pumping the brakes. They're not ready. We're just not ready yet. We want to think it over. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with, of course, the 4 pillars of objection handling. So who knows the 4 pillars, or maybe one of the pillars to objection handling overall? We'll go high level. Does anybody want to kind of jump in and share? What's the first thing you do when you get an objection? What's the very first thing you do? Anybody want to share first thing?
You acknowledge it or agree?
Yeah, agree. Yeah, and then also isolate. Yeah, number one is to agree. Number one is to agree with them and to acknowledge it. Man, oh yeah, you want to think it over. I totally get it, man. That's awesome. You want to think it over. I totally understand. Absolutely. And then the second thing is, the second pillar is to isolate. Isolate that objection. Is there, other than wanting to think it over, is there anything else that would keep us from working together? You want to isolate that. The main reason is because otherwise, once you handle that objection, then they're going to throw another one at you. And then once you handle that, then throw another one. So you want to isolate that. And then the third is to handle that objection. And then the fourth is to close. So, for example, there's really only about 4 or 5 main objections that we ever really get in this business. So the key is to know those, know the handlers, and perfect them, to master them, right? And I heard last week from Saku Pyle, he said that they are the best practicers. He said the reason that they're the best in their market is because they practice more than anyone else. So let's say, for example, if someone says, hey, well, you know what? We want to think it over. Okay. Well, other than, I totally agree. You want to think it over. Man, I can totally understand that. Other than wanting to think it over, is there anything else that would stop you from moving forward? Well, no. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Do you feel comfortable and confident with our proactive and aggressive marketing approach to sell your home? Yes. Okay. Are you satisfied with the terms and the price that we discussed today? Yes. Well, great. So why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead, since I'm here now, why don't we go ahead and get the paperwork started? And then if you ever do want to, if you want to change your mind, you can change your mind. And since you can cancel at any time, then we'll be able to get the ball rolling and get things started. Does that sound good? Okay, got it. So,
All right. So
yeah,
Tom,
so
I think something that would be good that we talked about was let's get questions from them of what they're coming up against right now. Let's find out what their biggest objections are. It could be the objections in their mind, right? And then we'll get to let the three of us really objection handle those. I mean, Tom, you're a pro, obviously, the #1 guy in the world at KW. You know how to overcome objections. What are the questions you guys are getting right now? What are the objections you're getting? We have a good crew here today. What can we do to help you understand that from the years of, business that we've been in? What can we do? Either chat it, raise your hand, whatever you want to do. But you've got some leaders here. Russell is an animal. He's dealing with negotiations every day. We've got people that are high-level production objection handlers. So bring your questions.
Commission.
Jason, commission. What's the objection? I know what you're going to say, but
Yeah, pretty much just, 6% too, that's too much for me. I know someone that, was offering like 4%.
I love it. Who wants to take it?
I'll take that one, Randy.
Okay, awesome.
So I can go a couple different directions with that. And if I'm going about it in a kind manner, I would say I can see how that might be appealing to you, to go with someone that is going to charge less for their services. However, I just want you to know that there are many negotiating points throughout this contract, and this is just the beginning. If one doesn't have value for the services they provide, or have value for themselves in the service that they provide, how would you expect them to have value to hold the equity position in your home when they're negotiating on the sale? Or would you expect them to have value in the home that they don't even own in the negotiating process?
Cool. Okay. What about Russ? Tom, what do you think?
Sure.
How do you handle this objection?
Yeah, I'll jump in. So usually I don't get this objection because I've gone and, through the conversation with them, and they understand that my team sells between 5 and 7% above market value. I have statistics that show that. Then I walk them through the 3 major pitfalls that happen for sellers and how we overcome those before we even get there. And so when I get to the end, it's not like it doesn't ever happen, but it has happened before. And I use 2 different overcoming objections. The first one I use is, hey, listen, hopefully you understood that I sell your house for 5 to 7% above market value. You could definitely find a low cost provider that'll sell at 3 or 4% under market value. And now you've lost, 10, 11% on the total value of your home, which doesn't make any sense. And I'll give you another analogy. Probably your home is your most valuable asset. And I would say your heart is your most valuable organ. Would you go after the low cost provider to do surgery on your heart?
Ooh, good one.
That's a good one. So I go with, there's a couple of different ways that you can go. Number one is you can just say, no, do you have any other questions? No. Or you can go with, okay, other than not wanting to pay 6%, other than that, is there anything that's stopping us from moving forward? No. Well, I can appreciate the fact, and if the other agent is so quick to move and to cave on his own commission, well, how well is he going to be able to protect your equity? Do you think that they will cave in quickly to make a sale or stand ferociously to fight for you and for your equity? You don't want to gamble with your equity, do you? Of course not. Well, put me to work.
I love that, Tom. And that's a great script. And what I love about it is you said no first. That's what I always love about negotiating when you're talking about commissions with sellers, is just say no, but thank you for asking, and check the reaction. Because a lot of times I'll say that and you get that 3 to 6 second pause that is uncomfortable, and they just go, okay, all right, I just said I had to ask, or I'm ready to go, or whatever. One of the styles that I like to do, if I can get this out without choking, is I like to acknowledge the fact if they go, hey, we really like you, and there's some positive conversations, but they said, but we had a couple other people coming out, man, we're seeing 4%, 4.5%. I said, awesome. Is that something you're really important, or is that something you're really interested in because of the price point? And if it is, we're willing to match those services, but let's match service to service. What are you getting provided for at 4%? And usually they won't know. And I go, if you don't know, they haven't properly conveyed what they're going to do, right? So all of a sudden, we don't want to disparage the other agent ever. I don't ever like to say they don't know what they're doing. They, if they're so willing to give the commission away, I have said that in the past, but you're usually getting at odds with them. There's power in saying, hey, I believe that's probably a great agent, and he's probably looking at a service he's going to provide for 4. We offer that service as well. We have a 4, 5, 6, or 7% listing percentage. Are you interested in hearing the differences? And then let's make sure we're talking apples to apples on the 4%. Because if you're just looking to get on the MLS, throw a sign in the yard, 4%, we could have that conversation. Did they talk to you about staging? Did they talk to you about the paint that is purple in the bedroom? Did they talk to you about this? And so that you could start getting them isolated away from that into a posture of what they really are trying to achieve. So good one.
Absolutely. And then just a couple of, while we're still on the commission, I've got just a couple of other ones, and you want to go to what their goal is. You want alignment with them. So what I'm hearing is that you want to net the most money as possible. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Can we agree? Yes. Well, sometimes trying to save 1% up front can end up costing you 2 to 3% in the long run. Can I explain?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, our average listings sell for 103% of the list price. Do you know what the market average right now is? It's only 97%. So on average, we're netting our sellers 4% more than the average agent. If we can net you $20,000 to $25,000 more than the average agent, would you agree that we've earned our commission? Great, put us to work today. And another one is that I go to the old, a lot of agents are, you can bring in a story or an analogy, say, yeah, you could always either go to Motel 6 and they'll leave a light on for you, or you can go to the Ritz-Carlton, they'll fold back your covers, leave you a chocolate, and know you by name.
Tom, you're smooth, man. So I have a couple others that we have in the chat, and then I see Michael Delvin's hand was up. If we've answered your question, or put your hand back up. One of the objections is I haven't heard your company. I think EXP got that a few years ago. Not hearing that much anymore, but maybe we could address that. And then we have other agents we'd like to interview. I'd like to hear your response to that. So we like you, but we have other agents we'd like to interview. We need to feel like we need to honor that.
So Russ?
It's funny because I just went up against that we haven't heard of your company. And it is good to know your competition, right? Because I asked them, well, who else have you interviewed? And I knew who they had interviewed and I was ready. They had interviewed Berkshire Hathaway and they had interviewed Sotheby's. And I said, well, just so you know, we're bigger than both of those combined.
I know.
We built a Sotheby's last year, and Berkshire is actually a small company. And I walk them through the size of our company, the number of countries that we're in, and that we're newer. And that's why a lot of people haven't heard of us, but we're absolutely established and one of the fastest growing real estate companies in the world. And our resources are unbelievable. And I walk them through that we're a technology company.
That's so good, Russ. And it's so interesting because what come up for me automatically with that is, you used to shop with Blockbuster for your movies, and that's only a $9 a purchase. What would you do today? Would you still walk into the Blockbuster because of the feel of that, or would you want to be with the Netflix and get things instantaneously in the world that we live? That's kind of the relationship between the old-fashioned companies and us. I like using that kind of analogy to customers as well. Michael, you've had your hand up. What can we do for you, sir?
Well, when I get that, usually it's, well, you're not the top agent in the neighborhood, so-and-so, they have most of the business. I ask people why they bought the house that they're in right now and what motivated and why they picked this one over the others. And then I ask them after that, well, how did the listing agent in that case influence your decision? Now, I already know the answer because they never met the listing agent. They don't know who the listing agent is, and it was nothing to do with their purchasing of the house. And so I asked, do you think buyers buy a house based upon the for sale sign, the logo, or is it because of the house and the marketing of the property? So don't, pick the office or the agent that's necessarily the biggest. I mean, some of you might object to that one, but pick the one that's going to do the most to sell your property. Let's talk about what we do to sell your property. Isn't that more important than the company that the agent works for?
Love it, Michael. Some good stuff here today. So
Somebody else want to take the other agent one, or do you want me to do that one too?
Yeah, go ahead.
So hopefully, again, nobody says by the time that you're done that they're going to be talking to other agents. But then that takes us right back to the beginning conversation today about overcoming objections.
let me ask you a question, Russell, on
Yeah.
that before you go. Why are they given the objection they want to talk to other agents most of the time?
100% because you didn't satisfy everything that they're looking to get out of an agent.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So
You
so
did
that's
not satisfy everything, or they would not be still in a decision-making process.
and so then I clarify, okay, what was it about my presentation today that makes you think you still need to talk to other agents? Like, what did I do wrong?
So that's bold, Russell. Right? But agents that are winning the listings are bold.
Yeah. And then sometimes they say, no, we like you the best. We just really feel obligated. I'll tell you what, I'm going to call that agent for you. If I'm the right guy for the job, I'm not going to waste their time. They'll be happy you didn't waste their time. I will call all of the agents that you have less for you and let them know that I got the job. You don't have to cross that bridge.
I love that.
A lot of times they just have opposition to call. They feel bad that they cancel,
I love that. And one thing I've added in my comment like that, I go, hey, not only am I going to call the other agents, let's give them a head start. Let's give them that week or 2 weeks that we need in pre-listing to get your property ready. Let's let them sell it because they did some work for you. I honor that. I work well with the other agents and they just love that, right? They love the fact that they're not letting them down. They don't have to get involved. So very cool.
And it's also great before you go on that appointment, if you can ask them some pre-qualifying questions, for example, are you going to interview any other agents? A lot of people are afraid to ask them that right up front. Go ahead and ask them. Let me ask. Are you going to interview other agents? Well, yes, we are. Oh, great. Well, if you don't mind, can you share who else you're going to chat with? Because I know all of the great ones. And go ahead and find out who that agent is so you can do a little bit of groundwork and you can find out who they are and what they've done. So you can really, really pre-handle that objection. I mean, the best objection handler is to handle it before it comes up, right? So that's, one tip. And then also, I always go to, well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get the paperwork started since we're all here now. You can cancel anytime, then we can hit the ground running. And I'd be more than happy to call the agent. They can still sell it, right? Oh, really? They can? Yeah, they can still sell it. We offer the 2.5%. So
I love it.
what's another one?
What about some pre-closing or trial closes that you guys use along the listing presentation? Do you have some of those? One of the ones that I like using as we're kind of going through the paperwork, or I set the listing agreement on the side and I haven't talked about it yet. And you can see them kind of looking at it, see what the number is or what the terms are. And I go, would there be a problem if we sold this like very quickly, maybe even in the pre-listing component timeframe? If we sold it during that timeframe, is that going to pose a problem for you? It's a loaded question because if they go, no, man, if we get our number, then we're fine doing that. Or if they say, wow, yeah, I mean, if the price was right, we'd put stuff in storage. That's a pre-close that moves you that direction, right? Instead of getting to the end and they're like, okay, I don't know how we're going to work through all these pieces. So
Sure.
some of those pre-close questions could be powerful.
Another one is, do you happen to have an extra key? And then, if they go get that key and bring it to the kitchen table, you've got them. And then another one is, our photographer is extremely busy, but they do have an opening on Wednesday. And then they also, they have an opening on Wednesday and then Friday. Do either of those days, just pull out your phone and act like you're pulling up their calendar and say,
I love it.
They can go Wednesday or Friday. Which of those days works best for you to pencil in tentatively?
I love it. I think we got another question. Holly.
Hi, yes. I had a listing last June, which was the worst market ever and stays on the market for a long time. And in the middle of the listing, the seller decided to cancel with me at go with another agent, which whatever I told the agent, it happens. I told them we need to drop the price, and the other agents who interviewed, they said the same thing, but he decided to try another agent. What would you do in this situation?
Gentlemen?
Yes. So a lot of times, if you're not able to get that listing signed right then and there on the spot, you actually only have a 50% chance of getting that listing. Even if they say, oh yeah, we love you, we like you, we're going to list with you, 50%. So the whole key is, of course, to close, and level shift and close, because if someone else comes in behind you, they probably were able to close better and get that thing done. So, and a lot of times, a lot of agents are just going with, they're going with a high price, they're buying their listings. So we have to be careful of that. I think in certain cases, it's okay to get feedback from the client and find out, gee, oh, so you did go somewhere else? Oh, great. No worries. I'll still see what I can do and see if I can sell your home. If you don't mind, could I just get some feedback? Is there anything that I can do better or different next time? So that's a couple of my suggestions.
I love that, Tom. Sometimes I'll talk stats with people. I'll say, this was a few years ago, but I'll say last year we went on 99 listing appointments. We listed 98 of them. And that one made me the most upset. That one that I didn't get really made me the most upset because I really thought I was the best client for them. But if you decide to go a different direction, I'd really like that feedback, right? So you're setting it up that you're successful and you did very well as you care about what they're thinking. I love that component of it. So let's do something real quick. This is important to me. When I have coaching clients in production, I'm always looking at what they do on their listing presentations. It's the most highest return on ROI dollar in your business is listing presentations, listings received. Do me a favor, chat in real quick. Everybody look up, put in chat. If you take a listing agreement to your listing appointment all the time, and if you don't, be honest, because I really would like to know how many people don't take a listing agreement with them to their listing presentation. So real quick, if you could chat in, and to be honest, if you don't, it's okay. I'm not going to single you out. Don't leave without a sign, 100%. Yes. For the most part, yes. Surprisingly, a lot of my clients that I've coached over the years in Tom Ferry and in production, Tom Ferry's a little different because most of them were higher production agents. But most agents that I talk to that are in lower producing brackets don't take the listing presentation with them. They go with a marketing presentation. I go with the listing presentation, the marketing's backup. The marketing presentation's if I need it, right? I go in there, it's like it's going hunting for Moby Dick with tartar sauce, right? I love that saying because it ties it together for me. Go in with that, go into that listing presentation with the posture that you're getting the presentation. And one of the first things I'll do is I'll take my folder or whatever I have I brought, and I'll go, I brought a few things. I brought the listing, signatures and the listing agreement. I'll set that on the table. Now it's filled out, but I don't have the price in it yet because we haven't got to that point yet, right? So I'll set that on the table. This first thing they do is they're trying to read that. It's almost a diversion. I go, I've got a marketing plan. I've got a CMA. I've got all these things I like to do. What's most important to you? Because a high D is going to go, let's talk numbers. Right? And a high I is going to want to see all the flashy pictures of their neighbors' houses. Analyticals want to see CMA data. So sometimes by asking that question, which one of these would you like to go over first? What's most interesting to you? Where do we need to start? They'll guide you down that path. Or they'll say, hey, I don't know anything yet. Give me all you have. That's giving you information of how this is going to proceed, right? But I've always had success in taking that with me. And then if they go, yeah, just show me what you got. I'll start at the beginning. Edify me, edify my abilities, edify the company, edify their house, edify our marketing, get all the way down the road. And then I always give them a parameter of price because they want to know the price first. And by the way, Tom, #1 guy in the world, he might have a different way of doing it. And I'd probably listen to him. But my style is I give them a parameter. I've done your CMAs. Let's say it's Sacramento and it's 565 is what I came up with in my gut. I'll say CMAs are telling me somewhere 535 to 605. Big parameter, right? At least 15%. And also, now that I've given you my number, where were you thinking? Well, we were hoping for 585. No problem. I think that's right in our parameters, right? So instead of me going 565 and they go, and we're going to talk to a couple other agents, right? I've given them talking points to get in this parameter conversation. And if they go 585, I go, absolutely. Let me talk to you about what that looks like. Let's look what 585 means. That one bedroom that's purple, we're going to have to paint that. We've got some things to do, but we can get that number, right? Now, what I say is timeframe's the most important part of price. If you have the unlimited amount of time, the whole rest of this year, I can get you the top spectrum. If you've got something in escrow in Texas and you got a 30-day window to release that contingency, we might need to do that sooner, and that price is adjusted, right? So just a little tidbit, a little bit of help potentially. So Tom, we're getting towards the end of the thing. This has really been good. What is next for us? What, if you guys have any burning questions you want to do, anything, we're here to support you. I love this format. It's our most popular format. And, thank you for being here. Tom?
Yeah. Hey, well, thanks, Randy. I appreciate it. And I like the fact, Randy, you always ask great questions, because that is so key with any communication or any client or any relationship, is to ask questions and then listen. God gave us one mouth and two ears, so listen. One of the greatest questions that I ask is, what are you looking for a real estate agent? What's important to you? So, hey, we had a great time here. We shared a lot of great information. So this Friday, I have Adam Bailey. He's one of the top agents in EXP and in the country. He's going to share how he built a team doing over 1,000 deals a year. That's this Friday, Freedom Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific. And don't forget, we've got Dialing for Dollars coming up here in about 15 minutes. We'll see y'all then. Thank you, Randy. Thank you all for coming here.
Thanks,
and
Russ.
we'll see you soon.
Tom,
Have a good day,
everybody
guys.
that contributed,
Thanks.
I appreciate you.
Great job. Great job, guys.
Thank you.